VO Radio, 24/7 internet radio for the voiceover community.
Hey, all you salivating listeners, are you ready for another Deb's Voice recipe? Well, here goes. Today we're going to talk about creating just the right studio temperature. Just like good food. If we're eating food and it's not very good temperature, well, for me anyway, I don't like it as much. I want it cooked just right. So does your room. Does your setup, your room tone, matter? Your room tone matters big time. We spend all this money on equipment to make our sound really good, which is excellent. But the problem is, no matter how much you've spent on that equipment, if you don't have the right tone in your room set up, it's not going to pick it up the way that mic deserves. What is room tone? Room tone is about how the sound of the room is. And every room has sound, and it might not be obvious to your ears, but as they develop, they'll get more fussy, and you will hear room tone. Many of you who are just starting out don't have a proper studio setup, so you're going to have a lot of room tone. Room tone comes from a lot of different things. Drywall is a big culprit because sound bounces off of drywall. It's a hard surface. It's not a soft absorbing surface. So therefore, when the sound travels to the wall, it bounces back, which gives a bit of reverb. And that picks up a tone in the room. Big culprits, ceilings and floors. Make sure you have carpet on your floors. Make sure you have blankets, ceiling tiles. Ceiling tiles can be good because they're usually acoustically absorption, whereas a hard roof surface or a hard ceiling surface will be bouncing back. So you got that stucco, it's going to bounce back off of that. It's a big culprit. And if you're renting, how the heck do you put all this stuff on the walls? Very difficult. Now, a lot of you that are in closets right now, voicing. Those of you that are in closets right now, your clothes in the closet are actually excellent sound absorbers. So if there's room, leave the clothes in there. But if you have a shelf above it that's open, you need to put pillows or something up there so that sound is not bouncing back as well. And then when we get into a more advanced version of studios, we have the treating the room. Corners matter. How we treat those corners changes the way the sound bounces. Now, for you guys just starting out, you don't have to get too fussy. You don't have to be an engineer. But it is good for you to understand the difference between a clean tone and a noisy tone. One way to do this is when you record, go into your setup, whatever it is, hit record and start talking. And then when you go to edit it, no matter what program you're editing on, and if you're not, you need to get started, I want you to insert some silence. And silence is 100% clean sound. There's no noise in it whatsoever. It's a zero sound. And so if you insert silence into your file, and then you listen back with good studio monitor headsets, you're going to hear your voicing, and then you're going to hear it drop out into that clean sound. If it's a really obvious dropout, like a really harsh change, your tone isn't very good. So you might need to work on that. Now, those of you that can't afford to work on that yet or will be working on it, listen, there's tons of cheap ways to do it on YouTube, so have a look on there. But one thing you can do to help yourself in the meantime is you can record room tone and then put it underneath your entire edited track. So when you do make those edit cuts and it's very obvious that your tone is not so good, you put that room tone back in and then it's not so bad. But if you have a USB mic that's hissy, if you have bad room tone, everything is a comparison. And when my audition goes out against yours, they're going to hear a nice clean room and a noisy room with you. So as much as you've masked it by putting that room tone back in to not hear those clean cuts, we can still hear your room tone if we have a good ear. So room tone really matters. Now, I can make room tone be fairly clean in my hotels when I'm traveling, at my friend's house when I'm traveling, at a cruise when I'm traveling, in my car when I'm traveling. So there are ways to do this even at home, on a cheap budget, if not no budget. But Some of them are very uncomfortable. I've been on hotels where I've got a blanket held over my head while I'm voicing, but now I can't use my hands because I'm holding it. And if it's long, that's going to be absolute hell. So you have to find ways to make the studio setup work. Portable booths are great when you're traveling, but you need to get yourself set up. And I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Please don't have your computer in your studio with you. I know it's easier. I know it's cheaper, but it makes noise that your ears don't hear. The more you do this stuff, guys, the more you're going to hear your room tone. So start playing with it. Start playing with different sounds, set up blankets different ways, and start looking at a lot of YouTube videos out there because there's lots of people helping. I hope this helps, guys. Make sure it matters. Everything is a comparison. Thanks for tuning in today, guys. It's been my pleasure. If you have any questions or even concerns about some of my rantings, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can reach me at debsvoice.com. That's the best and easiest way to find me on my website. Take care. Till next time, everyone. Happy cooking.
VO Radio, 24/7 internet radio for the voiceover community.